There we go.
Testing. Okay. Philip Abraham.
Excellent connection.
Whoa. That's a great
Oh, hell yeah. We look great.
microphone
Pull
voice.
up the, so I do the chat through here.
Do-do-do-do-do.
Look at it there, too, but let's see. Check, check. Sound good. Look good.
Hello?
Open anyway.
Is there any way to raise the level on mine or no?
Like, volume?
Yeah, just because I'm real soft. Yeah, there we go. Okay.
Check. Yep. Okay. It says I have no. Get the fuck out of here, liar.
Connect me. 'Cause it's big trouble in Little China.
Boom.
Jack Burton. Wait, Jack Burton's in for some serious trouble. And you're in for some serious fun.
Are you reading the promo?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, you remember that? It's crazy.
No, that'd be nuts.
Boom, and we are live. Philip, thank you. Do you go by Phil or Philip?
Yeah, either one.
Either one. Okay, cool.
Whatever.
Because sometimes, I don't know, it's weird. Like, no one's ever said Mike Jordan, you know?
Yeah.
It's always Michael. But, I don't know. It's just interesting to me.
Yeah, Philip sounds kind of formal. If it's
Very
like
formal. Like,
quick, it's
your mom called you Philip, right?
No, they actually call me Felipe.
Felipe.
Yeah.
Okay. That works.
They're like, Felipe. It sounded like that.
Boom. So I love how you were introduced to my ghetto apartment complex by a man screaming in the rain.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know?
Dude, I had to call you.
Yeah,
You know,
he was scared. He's like, "Can you come and escort me up to the apartment? There's an enraged man screaming right now." And I was just like, "Welcome to hell." You know, this is what I deal with every day.
Dude, I was inside my car, outside the building, and I could hear him yelling.
Yeah.
What was he yelling about?
He's some drunken drug addict lunatic who yells at the fucking wind. Like, I tell so many jokes about this place on stage now. Like, I'm immune to everything. Outside of like a blood curdling like scream or an absolute explosion, I don't even bat a fucking eye anymore.
This place looks like people have died here.
They have. I mean, well, there's been not like homicide, but there's been 2 people who have died that I know of. One time was like a wellness check for this elderly man who lived across. And he was just some old, I think he was a mute. I never heard him speak. I don't think he could fucking talk. And then one day we just stopped seeing him. And then a week later, the EMS shows up and they gurney his ass out of here. And then another time a guy like overdosed or something.
Yeah, this is like training day. Like this. Remember?
100%.
Yeah, it's like a little commune, like a compound, like a
Okay.
military strong.
Oh, yeah.
hold.
I'm one of the last people. I'm like the last of the Mohicans here because there's these people downstairs and then myself, and then there's like 3 other units occupied, but I'm the second longest tenured occupant of this fucking place. Like everyone, like so many people have been evicted. There's been like raids here before.
Yeah,
where there was
that's-
cops with rifles.
Yeah, that's what this looks like.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Half of it's boarded up, like with wood.
Yeah, it looks so fucking ghetto. Yeah, I don't know. Like here's the thing. Here's the perks of this place. I stay up really late, and I mean, I don't have parties over here, but sometimes I get kind of loud gaming at 2:00 in the morning, or I used to stream movies out here all the time. You can be as loud as you want all hours of the fucking night. So no one's calling the cops on me. No one's pissed off at me. And geographically in Austin, it's in a good spot. Like, it's north, but not too north. I'm still 10 minutes from downtown, 15 with crazy traffic. And, yeah, I feel like the spot in the middle of the city isn't bad. I mean, well, the complex itself is kind of, you know, Freddy Krueger's lair. But other than that.
Yeah, and you do have Freddy Krueger shit everywhere.
I do. I have Freddy Krueger there behind us, the mask, the glove, all that good stuff.
Yeah, is this going to be your final resting place here? Are you thinking?
I mean, I just have to get my life together financially so I can fucking move. So, I mean, comedy sure as fuck isn't paying the bills. Uber Eats isn't. And I got pulled over last night. I talked about it. I do a little intro. So I've been like an idiot. I've been driving around with expired registration, which a lot of people do. So my dumb logic was like, I see 2021, 2022 stickers everywhere. Like, and I've been driving around forever with my shit expired, and I got pulled over in Hutto last night, and he gave me this citation that wasn't like a full-blown ticket. He's like, if you take care of this by January 8th, you don't get a fine at all. But now I have to go and do the whole deal because I don't even have a Texas license, so you can't even get registration without your Texas license. So I have to go super early, get the Texas license, get the emissions inspection thing, and then get the registration. So I don't know how much it's going to run me, but I mean, the cost sucks, but I know it's going to take half a fucking day to do. Like, it's going to be from like 6 a.m. to the afternoon of dealing with all this bullshit.
I went to a car dealership for the last 3
Okay.
days. I was at car dealerships.
Yeah.
They are the sleaziest. Like, there's no other sales position that's like a car dealer, right? It's like still old school.
Right. That's true.
They're like fucking doing all sorts of manipulations.
I mean, how many times is the go-to if someone is shady or untrustworthy? They call them a used car salesman. That's like the go-to description. So, and it still stands. Like,
yeah, just having a car is bullshit.
I mean, that's the only thing I have going for me is I have a car that is paid off because I got hit by that. You saw when I got in the car accident, right?
Yeah.
So I was 2 weeks into Austin. This is over 3 years ago now. December 1st, 2021, hit by a Dodge Ram, totaled my fucking car. I got a settlement and a new car, and I had tags for 2 years. So I was like, don't even have to fucking deal with it. And was able to use the settlement money to pay off the fucking car. So I was like, that's a big deal, especially when I'm a comedian driving everywhere and an Uber DoorDasher.
Yeah.
So there's people with way more money than me and who are way more responsible than me, and they have huge car payments. So I was like, at least in one little element of my life, it's kind of put together, you know?
Dude, I had to, right when I finished paying off my car, the engine went out.
Oh, God.
By the way, keep your oil changes, every oil change record, because
Really?
if you got a warranty on the transmission or the engine,
Yeah.
if you don't have all the invoices, they'll not cover it.
Seriously?
Yeah, so they didn't cover my shit. So I fucking lost a car. Sucked. These people are.
What kind of car was it?
Like a little Hyundai Accent.
Okay.
Manual transmission though. It was really fun.
Huh.
Yeah, I could do a lot of things.
That's exciting. Yeah, I had a Hyundai Accent. I tell that joke about it because it used to honk by itself even if I was nowhere near it.
Yeah,
like
that sounds about right.
It was crazy. Like, it would piss everyone off. It would be I would be in my apartment, and it'd be honking in the parking lot, and sometimes it wouldn't stop. You had to punch the steering wheel, and then it would stop, and it was fucking insane.
That's pretty nice. Get out a little bit of anger at the same time. You can.
Yeah, you just look like a lunatic, though, to everyone around you. It would start. It would do that at red lights, too. A pedestrian would be using the crosswalk, and it would start honking at them, and I'd have to show them that it wasn't me, and they're just like, what the fuck, dude? Like, it was insane.
Good thing it's totaled.
Right, all right. What is the chat saying? I
What is
always use cash to buy cars in full. What are you, part of the fucking Sopranos? Who
this
just
guy's
has...
fucking
Oh, are you
loaded
buying a Hot Wheel? Who the hell has enough hard cash just to buy a vehicle?
criminal enterprise? Yeah, if you're buying like under $10,000,
Right.
maybe you've. Who's this guy?
I recommend always to go to the same oil place every time so it's documented. Plus, it tells them you are serious about your car.
100%. Yeah, don't be like me, going to a different place every
So
time.
I had that deal. So I got a Corolla. So that Toyota dealership right across from here is where I got the vehicle. And I had this plan where I could get, for the first several thousand miles, I get my oil changes there for free.
That's awesome.
And then once that expired, I would get these coupons in the mail where it's like 20% off. And it's still overpriced, but I know they're going to do it right. And it's right there. So for like another year, I would still get my shit done at the dealership. Now I've been going to Take 5. Have you been there?
Is it like red and yellow?
red and yellow, and
Yeah.
you sit in your vehicle.
Oh,
So it's real, like they've exploded. Whoever the fuck, I don't know if this person went on Shark Tank, but Take 5 has taken over. Like I didn't even know they existed before like 2022.
you just
And
sit there. They'll change it.
they show you everything too. So
Oh,
they'll literally show you, like they'll grab the oil thing and show you before they pour it in. They do it right there, and you're in and out in like
wine. They just,
Yeah.
like oh,
yeah,
that's
you're in and
nice.
out in like 15 minutes, and reasonably priced. So I went there last time before I drove to Dallas. What's up, Mitch?
What else they talking about?
Same shit. I keep and maintain documentation about everything done
Getting
to
a
my car.
license sucks. Yeah.
I mean, I'm so irresponsible to live in Texas 3 years. Here's my whole logic behind not getting a Texas license. I've gotten hired to work here before. I've had a job, multiple jobs in Texas. I've paid my rent. I've done everything without a Texas license. So why am I feeling pressured to get one?
Because that's like they passed all these laws.
Yeah, I know.
You gotta have a license, and it's a
If
bitch to get a license too.
If it was more of like you need this immediately type thing, I would have acted on it sooner. But now that I got the fucking citation, I'm forced. So not
gotta
like
get one.
not responsible, but
Yeah, just get it. It will take a long time to get it.
well, I heard you can get it day of if you show up at like 5 a.m.
You have to show up at 5 a.m., but they take the first 10.
I heard they take 20 walk-ins.
It depends on location, I guess. Welcome to Texas, people. Lottery, DMV.
Well, this dude's in Texas too. I don't have registration either. My car has a faded New Mexico plate. Okay, Jesse Pinkman.
Faded. What's this guy?
So you're from Houston, right? In
Well,
fact, introduce
yeah.
yourself a little bit. We're just here shooting the shit for the listeners. There's 5 people on YouTube. There's going to be
Fuck these people.
dozens of people who listen to the audio. But, yeah.
Chat, right? Okay. Philip Abraham. Phil is funny from Austin, Texas. Yeah, born and raised in Houston, all over Texas.
How long you been in Austin?
I don't know, like 15, 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what do you think about everyone moving here? Does it piss you off?
No, whatever. It's going to happen. But it is change the city, right?
Right.
Made
I mean,
it
even
more
since I've only been
expensive.
here 3 years, and I can only look at it through the lens of comedy. I mean, I drive a lot, so I've seen traffic get crazier.
Mm-hmm.
But comedy alone,
Oh, it's like the number one.
I almost feel like tenured here and like old school. Not old school, but I moved here a full year and a half before Mothership even opened, and that's kind of that.
Oh, yeah.
That's long. So even though
Oh.
I've only been here 3 years, I've lived in Austin longer than 80% of the active comedians here. Like, you know,
Yeah.
it's true. Like,
Yeah. Well, everybody's from somewhere right now. Like, so they're all
Yes.
passing through or coming to move here or seeing if they want to move here. I don't know. It's,
Right.
It's expensive, but comics are willing to live in a lot of crazy.
I can't. I mean, you see, I live in like the hood, but at least I keep it
No,
decent.
this is decent. I've been to some comics places and,
Yeah.
they're bad.
Oh, a lot of comics are hoarders. They have horrendous.
Hoarding. Yes.
I mean, not to be a dick, but just even like hygiene wise, it's just
Yeah.
like your place stinks. There's shit everywhere. There's garbage everywhere. Like, there's this maintenance dude that comes around, and a couple months back, I needed my AC fixed, and he came in here wearing a mask, and I'm just thinking, okay, COVID, and then immediately he took his mask off and like breathed in and goes, oh, thank God. He's like, I have to wear a mask when I go in most of these units because people's apartments are so fucking disgusting that I can't breathe in there. So thank you for having a clean apartment. So like, it had nothing to do with COVID.
That is nuts, man. I don't know how
Yeah.
people can live like that because even cars, I've seen some cars where they'll hoard. There's just
Oh, yeah,
cans
yeah.
and like food.
There was this comic in a few years ago in Tucson before I moved here. I gave this comic a ride, and she didn't believe I was a comedian. She goes, "You're not a comedian." And I was like, "Why?" And she goes, "Because your car is clean." And I was like, "Seriously? I guess, but I don't know. It makes sense." So I've been in some like where people just use their car as just a mobile trash can, basically.
Yeah. I've heard stories. Even people who've semi-made it that are still living in that situation, but like in a really nice place though.
Yeah, you have a nice house though.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been. So I talked about your show last week.
nice.
Rex the dog, not apartment, garage house show went fucking amazing.
Yeah. It used to be in my living room, and then I moved, so now I have a
Dude, the
garage.
living room one was good too. I posted a reel from that set.
It was cool.
Like I had a joke that crushed, and I was like, "That's like a clip I can post," and I did.
Yeah, it's like such an intimate vibe. Like, yeah, it's different. But the garage is nice because I can keep it permanent, you know,
Right.
without like having to break it down every show, which is a pain in the ass.
I'm trying to share this, so I'm not ignoring you and being rude.
No, you're being very rude right now.
I know I'm just glued to my phone as you're talking.
Ali Musa.
All right, there we go.
Ali, you're from Arizona, right?
I'm from Arizona.
Okay.
Correct. Tucson, Arizona, which is like the punchline of Arizona. Everyone, it's like, you know, the autistic younger brother of Phoenix or something. You know, it's.
Did you know Celia or Ty
Oh fuck yeah,
over there?
100%. Dude, I've known Ty Rivera for like 13 fucking years. Like I've been doing comedy 13 years and change. I've probably known him for at least 12 of those.
Yeah.
I've known Celia since she started, so about 8 years, 9 years maybe now. Yeah. Anyone from Arizona that does comedy, I know, basically. John Carden, too. He lives here in Austin. I've known him.
Yeah. I know Jordan.
Known him since he started. He's about 10 years in. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's so weird how fast time flies. I look at my Facebook memories, and I'm like, how the fuck was that 11 years ago when I hosted that show? It's just crazy to me. How long have you been doing comedy?
Not long. 2 years?
2 years. So you started after I moved here. That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone I meet in Austin who's already lived here has been doing comedy before I moved here, at least. Like even Robert Tabbitt, he's about 2 years.
Yeah, I met him. Yeah, I met him here when I started at the Tag Mic. I think. Yeah, Tag Mic.
I like the tag mic. It's just too fucking early for me.
It depends, because like some of the feedback you get most of it is not that.
Well, when it sucks, I just ignore it. So I'm just like, I can't. It's not a detriment. It's just like negligible. So it's like if someone tells me something that's dumb, it's just like that has no impact. But the small chance you get something that's good, that's a win. So I feel like that it's either baseline, you can get nothing from it, or you can get something. But
oh yeah,
I guess if you're wasting your time, that can be considered, a waste. But
I've got like shoe boxes filled with tags,
yeah,
and it's like you just go through. Some of them are just insults. They'll just be like, just something racist.
Oh my god! So remember the comic? I forget his name. Robert gave this comic at the Tag Mic like a blatantly racist punchline as a joke, and he went on Kill Tony and said the joke, and
I know what you're talking
got
about.
fired from his job because of this joke.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah.
And then he got on again recently. He got on again.
And he did much better.
Way better. Yeah. I personally don't find it necessarily funny, but at the end of the day, if the crowd is laughing and you didn't humiliate yourself, fair enough, you know.
He stood his ground. He came off with some dignity before
Yes.
it was pathetic.
The
It was sad.
we can roll right into the Kill Tony talk. I've told you off camera, and I don't know, I need to not necessarily be careful because I still sign up for the show. I still think the show holds a lot of value. It's the golden ticket of Austin, Texas. If you get on and do well, nothing is guaranteed. I'd say there's more of a chance of absolutely nothing happening than something big happening, and then there's just a little middle ground where it's like, oh, I got another 1,000 followers and I got booked on a few things and the exposure's out there. But yeah, there's a lot of shit to be talked, and sometimes you got to be careful because word travels.
Yeah, word does travel. You could be having a conversation and somebody overhear it.
Yes.
I was in a sauna one time.
And then Tony Hinchcliffe walked in with his dick hanging out.
The guy goes, we were talking about Kill Tony, and the guy goes, oh, he's my good friend, pulls out his phone. He's like, hey, here's me and him.
Oh, my God.
And, it's like there's a bunch of people around.
Well,
especially downtown.
What happened to me about a year ago, less than a year ago, I was talking shit about a comic. You know what? Maybe it's from a place of insecurity. We're all a little bit of a hater sometimes. You
yeah.
got to talk shit a little
got
bit.
to.
So I was shitting on this comic, and I was just like, he's like a shit caricature of like a bad personality and or something. And then they're like, that's who he really is, though. And I was like, how is that better? That they're permanently stupid like that naturally? I thought it was a fucking gag. I didn't know he was serious. And then the person's like, he's my roommate, and I was like. And it was so awkward, and then I was like, oh, well, I mean, and they're like, it's fine. A lot of people don't like him, blah, blah, blah. But it felt I felt like an idiot, kind of, because I'm just like, I'm here not just like, I'm calling this person like a hack, fucking just terrible comic to their roommate. You know they found out about that.
Yeah.
They absolutely told them.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not a big deal in this town, but if I'm talking shit about your roommate, they're going to mention it, like, period.
Well, dude, the gossip in this town, in the comedy scene, it's like within... Because I heard about a friend who got a call back, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right? And then within an hour, like everybody had known already. So it's so fast, the word gets around.
Right.
Yeah, small.
Call back at Mothership, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've like let go of that whole dream of getting in at Mothership. And it's
I've been up there 8 times.
You've done it 8?
Yeah, but I don't have any feedback except for like the guys that we know.
Yeah.
They'll tell me something.
Dude, 14 for me.
Wow.
And never a callback, and being as honest and objective as possible. Like, I've had a few shaky sets. One of them I kind of considered a bomb, but I got laughter, so it wasn't like a bomb, but it felt like, you know how it feels. I was like, that was so mediocre. A couple ones I just didn't like it. And then I had like 4 or 5 where I could not have crushed harder for that allotted amount of time. 2 or 3 where I was just like, I couldn't even get to my final joke because I got an applause break. So in my head, I understand comedy is way more than just the crowd reacting, especially if you're a veteran and you've studied the game and it's your job to evaluate. You can look past those things, but I don't know what the fuck they're looking for. And I've just accepted that I'm not necessarily their cup of tea for what they want. So I'll sign up again someday, but I haven't signed up in a few months or a couple months. And I'm like, I'm just going to work on my act and then still sign up for Kill Tony, because Kill Tony is just massive exposure. If you get in that Mothership, that's clout. Yeah, that's a big deal. That's, you get to work a hot room once a week or whatever, but it's not, I feel like it's not going to like change your life,
The Mothership?
Yeah, just getting merely past. Maybe if you got like hired there or something, but even then, I don't think it's going to change your life.
By getting past what? You're getting up maybe 2 to 3 times a week?
I would say 2.
Yeah, if you check in once a week. And
yeah.
I don't know. It's a good opportunity to get time.
For sure.
But again,
there's so many comics in the city, and I get it. I have empathy, and maybe this is coming from a place of like bitterness because I haven't been past. But for the most part, they make it more of a bigger deal than it is. Like, the Mothership has existed for what? Not even 2 years. There's thousands of rooms. There's the journey never fucking ends. You're always growing. You're always writing. There's just so many other fucking stages that to put that much time, energy, and just attention to one room, people overblow it. And I did it for a while too, and I realized.
No, you're right. Yeah, I mean, it's a big world. There's a lot of different places for 100%. A lot of different styles.
Yeah,
and so I think that's good. But wherever you are, you kind of get tunnel vision. Like if you're in the scene, just kind of grinding away at it. So.
Of course, and if you live in this town, it does mean something. So I'm not acting like it's not a big deal. And I admittedly, since I haven't been past, maybe I'm being not fuck that place or anything like that. But it's just like I've focused elsewhere.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah,
and I'm always going to recalibrate, and maybe I'll try. Like, I just need, because I do different material there, but I need like a joke that I'm crazy excited about that's just really murdering for me to be like, I have to tell this here. Anything outside of that. And I have a couple right now like that, kind of, but I don't know.
It's a big world, man. Houston, Dallas, there's so much other stuff going on, too.
Of course. But yeah, San Antonio even.
You've been going around, haven't you?
A little bit. Yeah, San Antonio. I was out in Arizona for Thanksgiving and did a couple headlining spots, which was fun. But yeah, that's another thing. I talked about my apartment being geographically in a good spot. Austin's good.
Yeah, Austin's good.
It's like the middle. And there's like, it's not even about Dallas, Houston, and San Antonio, just these little fucking towns too. Killeen, Temple. There's a lot out there where you can just get like a night where you make $100 and you get to do, 30, 45 minutes maybe, and then sell some stickers. I've done that several times.
Yeah, I think a lot of people getting too sucked up in the scene, maybe who started in Austin as well.
Of
like me,
course, yeah.
just staying in Austin or staying in that downtown scene. I like just getting out. That way you can get a little perspective. Just going to Houston and San Antonio to kind of see some other audiences, a mixed up audience. Houston,
Yeah.
Secret Group. Was it Upstage in San Antonio? That was pretty good. But way different than Austin. Austin's a very homogenous crowd.
Right. Yeah.
Houston, San Antonio is so mixed up.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And I feel like if you do comedy in the same place too many times, you mentally become stagnant. Like I feel like I have superpowers that have been regenerated when I go to a different city in a new room. I'm I have all of these banger jokes that I won't even tell in Austin anymore because there's no fucking point. Or I only will if it's like a legitimate gig.
Yeah.
But if I'm just doing like these showcases and these open mics especially, it's like I'm not telling these. But then when you're in some weird room, in New Braunfels with a packed house, you're like, oh shit, like I have, my superpowers are back. Like,
Yeah. It's a lot easier, too.
Oh, yeah.
When you're doing it in Austin, it's so much harder, so it feels a lot easier in some of the other areas.
100%.
But Austin's so competitive, too. You've got so much.
Well, I've said this before, and this comes off as being bitter again too. I don't care who hears this and thinks that, and I could be wrong. I'm wrong every fucking day. I'm wrong at least about something. But I feel like, and I think this is not just Austin. This could be just where comedy has grown and has evolved into. Is Austin? I mean, 13 years into comedy. This is the first time I've ever lived in a city where being funny doesn't necessarily matter. And I say that because being funny counts, absolutely. But if you check like 2 or 3 other boxes, it's not required to be funny. And if you're only funny and you have nothing else to offer, like you don't have online clout, you don't book your own show, you're not friends with the gatekeepers, just solely being funny alone is not going to get you far.
Yeah.
Because how are you going to overcome people who book their friends who then in return book them? So it's just like it's like friends trading spaces. The only thing I've seen that can like elevate you above that is if you have massive internet clout. Like you've gone viral, your TikTok is gigantic, or you have an in with a headliner that has an in at a place here. But if you're just a comic that's been doing it for a while who's really funny and good, that is a valuable thing, of course, and people will respect it, but it's not going to open up as many doors as you'd think it would.
Yeah, I mean, isn't it like everything else where you have to do a lot of shit now? Like run a business now?
Yeah. So I don't chalk that up to only an Austin thing. I think it's just kind of what has happened. But like when I was coming up in Arizona, like I was a mid comic, but I was okay. For like a 3 to 5 year in comic, I was getting hosting work at every club. Like now as a 13-year in who's capable of headlining, I don't get work at any club. So that just shows the giant difference of the way things have gone.
It's so saturated, too. It's like
100%, yeah.
the default is funny. So you got to be running shows. You got to be doing all this stuff outside, touring, all this kind of stuff. So,
yeah.
I don't know. I think in the long run it might be good just because it is so competitive. Everybody's coming here. So you've got to kind of keep getting better.
What I do like about Austin, though, and Corey Adams said this, he said there's no ceiling here, which is like I come from Tucson and even Phoenix to an extent, even though there's a hell of a lot more clubs there, you kind of reach a point where there's no more growth for you as a comic living in that city. It's just like I've passed every fucking room. I'm wildly respected. I can bump anyone at any mic. I've kind of like, in order to elevate myself, I have to travel all the time. I mean, you should be traveling in Austin too, but I feel like there's no real ceiling here. Like there's a lot of important comedy going on, a lot of rooms and just names that are coming through that, yeah, like the sky's the fucking limit here.
Mm-hmm. And on the other side of Mothership, you got Cap City, right? So
yeah,
yeah,
100%. And like I've said this too many times in this podcast, but since we're here talking, I've had some people try to push back, but once they really listen to the words I'm saying, they reluctantly agree. Cap City's the only true comedy club in Austin as far as a business-oriented club that has a real calendar.
Yeah.
Mothership is on its own fucking, own planet. Like they're like a weird version of the Comedy Store. They're like above just a regular comedy club. They're I don't even know what word to use. So they're different. They do have a calendar. They are a great room. It's a great club there, but they're different. Other than that, every other club in town is not working a regular calendar. None of them. Creek tries to. Creek is like it's a special event if they have a weekend. If they have like 4 shows with the same comic for a weekend, that's like a special event, even though that should be the norm every fucking weekend. Cap City, a.k.a. Helium, is the only fucking club in Austin, and that's crazy for the supposed mecca of comedy, the comedy capital of the world, as they've been trying to say, to only have one traditional comedy club. There needs to be like an improv here, too, or something.
Yeah, I've heard that there are talks about them opening something here.
Well, Rogan wants to open a theater.
Yeah, no, the improv.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, and I like all these rooms. I don't want any room to close. I try not to personalize shit too much. If like a room doesn't give me a fair shake or they don't book me, I still want them to thrive, and like more comedy is good. The thing I do rail against though is when showrunners try to throw too many showcases. If you're trying to work as a comedy club, fair enough. But if you're just like getting a bunch of barkers to just run a show, I just feel like a lot of those are just it's not a good representation of comedy, and that impacts people's willingness to go out and watch shows, in my opinion.
Well, it's a bunch of comics that are enabling that, right? Because they're willing to go on those kind of shows.
100%.
What, not paid?
Not paid. You waste half your day outside, like, begging people to come in, and then the lineup is mid, and this is no disrespect. Like, it takes a long time to get good. And even then, it's tough with some of the rooms that you're doing. It's just like, there's some really good comics who will eat shit in a weird dive bar side of a fucking building on a Tuesday night situation, and that's a lot of the shows that are being pushed. And I get it. We want stage time. Chase open mics, chase your fucking dreams, but there's too much sometimes where I feel like next time they're going to be like, you know what? We're just going to see Russell Peters when he comes to the Paramount. We're not going to fuck around with this small time shit anymore. And a lot of people remember that. That's why, like, another point that Corey Adam made, he's like, there's a reason that the host, feature, headliner has been the standard way to run a comedy show. That's always been the format, because if the host is mid or sucks, fair enough. If the feature is okay, usually the feature is better. The headliner's usually going to be good, usually. So if the headliner crushes and the host eats shit, they're not going to be like, well, that show sucked. A majority of the show was good. Let's say me and you are on a 10 comic showcase. We both crush. We have the sets of our lives, or we both bomb, and then if 2 comics have the set of their life and 8 eat shit, they walk away saying that was a bad show. So the less comics with like a really good comic to close it out doing the most time assures the crowd that they're going to have a good time.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, we don't have that many headliner comics to have that many shows, right? So I think a lot of these showcases are to accommodate for that kind of skill
For
level.
sure, 100%.
But also, like, that's a good format to get comics, a variety of comics to get time.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not against showcases per se, but I'm saying that there's the reason that professionally run rooms and clubs always have a tight lineup, usually in the host, feature, headliner format.
Yeah.
Is because then the audience is going to at least get a majority of a good show, usually.
Yeah, and I think anybody can start a show. So the problem is if you do have somebody starting a show, putting it on, and then the audience has a bad experience, they might be coming out to a comedy show for the first time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That
You
hear that a lot. Sometimes you ask who's been here before, or is this your first show? There's usually people that will like cheer or clap about that.
Yeah.
Yo, what up, Jelly? Sorry, I'm looking at the chat room right now.
What are they talking about?
Yes, something. Yes, variety, something for everyone. No shortcuts to lasting greatness. Someone called me Montenegro. I think he's referring to that Kill Tony guy. You know about that, right?
What's that?
The dude who dropped the N-word on Kill Tony.
Oh, is it like a Mexican guy with tats?
No, he's from Montenegro. He's like this white dude who looks like a homeless Charles Manson.
No, I didn't see him.
Yeah, he dropped a couple of N-bombs on Kill Tony.
So he's from Montenegro. So he's a foreigner.
Yes.
Okay, so he's not even aware, really.
And he's homeless, too.
Like, legitimate?
Legitimately homeless. And he doesn't even do comedy. He solely, exclusively signs up for Kill Tony only. And,
I want to see this guy.
dude, he got on like 2 months ago.
Oh, I gotta see this guy. Yeah, so he said the N-word?
Yeah.
And then what?
I mean, some people got mad on the internet over it.
I mean, he doesn't have a social media presence, does he?
One dude was like raging against on Facebook. He's like, "Oh, let's make this guy famous." And I responded and I was like, this is actually a homeless dude who lives in his car in Austin, is not even a fucking comedian. His life's already a mess. Going after him will literally do absolutely nothing. Get over it. It's not that big of a fucking deal.
Why are they putting him on?
He signed up and
But he has a license. Because you have to have a license.
he lives in his car. So I mean, yeah, he has a license.
Oh, so he's not homeless like Austin homeless like that.
No, he's not like
He's
the meth head arguing with a fucking fire hydrant and
That's what I was picturing.
No, he's like comic homeless, but a little more worse than that though. Like he's like he doesn't even do stand up like that. So I mean, there's several comics that live in their car, which is like, I mean, when the weather is good, fine, but like if you're gonna live in your fucking car, just go to L.A. That's my opinion. Seriously, if you're gonna commit to living in your fucking car, you just drive the extra, 1,100 fucking miles, whatever it is, and do it like.
What's going to happen over there?
The weather is so much fucking better, and I think that there's L.A.'s still L.A. I know it's not what it used to be, but there's a hell of a lot of opportunity there as far as comedy goes. The fucking Comedy Store is there. There's several super famous comics, agents. You could get into acting roles. You could audition for commercials and shit. So, I mean, if you're going to live in your car and go after, being in fucking live entertainment and stand-up, if I was going to live in my car, I would live in L.A. over Austin. It's a fucking no-brainer.
Yeah, the only ticket here is the mothership that everybody's waiting on, like a ticket.
Yeah. And it's like a country club that I feel like is like, if you're not in, you're not in. There's ways around it probably, but it's not even Mothership necessarily. It is, but it's like I said, it's the Kill Tony push because Mothership is a lot of clout. It's very important as a comic. You just feel like that's a badge of honor, and you'd be excited. People would like look up to that, but the exposure is all in the Kill Tony.
Yeah,
that's the way you get millions of fucking people to see your shit. Like myself, like I haven't gotten like a huge push, but I have random clips of myself because there's this obsession with Kill Tony pages where they just post clips. I have random shit out there where someone will send it to me. It has 2 million views, and I'm just like, what the fuck? And it's me doing some Ben Shapiro thing or something.
Yeah, they're just taking your money out of your mouth.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I
mean, Sunset has a thing now. They have a disclaimer where everything you do on that stage, they have the rights to own and use in their marketing and advertising for their room. So it's just like, yeah, it's still you, but if we post you, we have the right. The second you step foot on that stage, you've signed the contract.
Yeah, I heard about that. The same thing for some of the shows. Like if you write skits for their shows, the show ends up owning, and then Sunset owns that.
Right.
So what if you come up with a character, and then, you can't keep doing that character if you did it?
I don't know. I'm glad I don't do. I mean, characters could be fun though, as long as you don't make it your whole act, I guess. But if you have some fun element of your comedy, or even a sketch show or a skit or something, and you have a character, because I've done characters on stage before, where for just that one open mic set, I just do a stupid accent and just act ridiculous. That's like fun. It's happened before. So
it's a lot. It seems like a lot of work.
Right.
Some people gravitate to it more than others. So
Some people are good at it.
Yeah.
Some people I've known who have taken the character route and they have excelled.
there's levels to homelessness.
There's
Yes.
fucking A there
Yeah,
is.
there are levels.
I mean, it depends on how mentally ill you are now.
oh man.
Because most of the homeless out there, it's different. It's just like I guess there's always been an element of being an addict if you're homeless for like our whole lives, but now it's just like fentanyl mixed with meth mixed with voodoo or something. Like it is way crazier out there. The shit that you see, just some like they look like they have rabies, dude.
Mixed with voodoo? Is that what you said?
Yeah. There's like witchcraft going on, bro. Like it's not the same homeless that we used to have.
No, it's just the drugs and yeah, it's the drugs. The drugs are getting more intense and crazier.
For sure. I
Yeah.
mean, I know fentanyl's existed for a long time, but fentanyl was like in the hospital for like it was used for like patients, and then somehow it became a thing that became a street drug, and it's so fucking powerful that it's hard to measure it correctly, and people just get zonked out, and it just takes fucking hold of them.
They eat better than us sometimes. Yeah, there's homeless people I've tried to give food to, and they're like, I don't want that. I want money. Because they're getting fed, especially in downtown,
Oh yeah.
all the time. People
All
are
the
giving
time.
them food, drinks, cigarettes.
Right.
So it's not that. I mean, that's not.
A lot of them have phones too, though, and they take Cash App. So
Well, a lot of them. Who? I haven't seen that.
maybe not a lot, but I've seen homeless people with phones accepting Cash App before.
I want that level.
Well, because some of them are just like, I mean, it's like he said, there's levels to this. If you're like really fucking just crazy homeless, but I've seen people that just, you can tell that they're homeless, but they also they sell crack and they have a phone, so they can contact the plug and get the re-up, but they're kind of just living on 6th Street, you know? I've seen that.
Yeah, I've seen that too. Yeah, the more people come in, the more homelessness we're gonna have.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, it's weird because they fixed it for like a week. Like, was it South by Southwest?
How do they fix? What do they do?
Oh shit! Oh, I thought it froze. Well, during South by Southwest, you know the whole deal. All the homeless were gone. It was like they bust them out. I heard a story that they literally, because for like whatever it is, the 2 weekends, there was a lot of the regular homeless people, because you get to like see the same homeless all the time. They were just gone, and I heard that they like bust them to a different area and like housed them for the 10 days or whatever, and then brought them back. Kind of like they did in San Francisco when they had that thing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So it shows that there's some ability to like, and I'm not saying just everyone deserves a free home and like all this shit. Like there's parts of that could work, but it shows that they could do a little bit more than they do now.
yeah, I mean, all these people had homes. They were in homes at some point in their lives,
Right.
right? So, anyways, that's important to remember. Sometimes people think the homelessness, they got to homelessness, like it's like a big thing that's unconnected to people. And I feel like everybody could become homeless. Like it's just one or two things could happen and you could become homeless.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's not like out of the possibility. That's the way this system's set up, right?
For sure, for sure.
But I think Houston, there was some lady in Houston that came up with some program, which is pretty simple. You like fucking give people homes, but then you're monitoring them and helping them get jobs. But they have to have an address to get a job. So all that shit. But this lady's program in Houston is like being adopted by all these other cities and states now.
Right.
Yeah, because it was like the most effective, and it's basic. It's give them health care, give them a place to live,
Right.
and help them get a job and stuff like that. But long term, because if you just give them a fucking place to live, and they're gonna go back to using drugs.
Of course. Yeah. There has to be some kind of rehabilitation or just like course or something that you have to go through, some rehabilitation type deal.
Yeah. I don't know. It's not that easy, dude. People are complicated.
We're not all gonna make it, you know. Even in life, we're talking about trying to make it in comedy, which is the hardest fucking thing in the world. It's like you might not even make it as just a productive, simple human being that can just hold a 9 to 5 and not end up in a puddle of urine on 6th Street. Like not. It's complicated. There's billions of us. It's not easy.
Did you ever see that movie Nightmare Alley?
No, it sounds awesome though.
Guillermo del Toro.
I love him. Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's
Is it not in English?
It's in English. It's
Okay.
a remake of a B movie from like the 50s.
Okay.
And it's kind of this whole cycle of, you could be on the other side. kind of
Yeah.
situation.
Nightmare Alley. How is
Yeah.
it like old? Like
It's
I mean, it
set.
can't be too old if it's
Yeah, it's
him.
it's set. No, it's a new movie, but it's set in like 30s maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's
It's
see what year
really
this
good.
came out.
Who's it? Bradley Cooper, Kate
Really?
Blanchett. Yeah. watch it.
Nightmare Alley from 2021.
A little bit long.
2.5 hours.
Yeah.
I have this theory. Like, I don't like long movies. Like, long movies can be good, but there's very few exceptions. I feel like any movie that goes well over 2 hours and is still a great movie, usually it's good despite being too long. Like, there's some movies I'm like, oh, that would be the perfect movie if they just shaved off 25 minutes. There would have been no excess, no extra fat, like no baggage. It would have been like perfect.
Yeah, that could have been an hour and a half.
Yeah, there's a lot. Like,
Yeah.
like hell, even Gladiator, I feel like is a little bit too long.
Oh, yeah, I heard about it.
Well, the new one I hear is like, well, Corey told me it was mid. He said he didn't like it, but
Oh, you're talking about the original? too
even the
long?
original is a little bit too long.
Yeah, I could see that.
Like, it's not. It doesn't ruin the movie. It's still a fucking awesome movie. But I'm like, it would be like damn near perfect if it was just like 20 or 30 minutes shorter. Just like, I don't know. That's maybe I'm impatient.
I haven't seen it in a while.
Like, well, going to the movie theater now, so if you see a movie now, let's say you go see the Avengers, what? It's like, ask Phil if he likes challenges and tell him. All right, he's talking Grand Theft Auto 3 because I do that every night here. Let me get back to my point real fast, though. If a movie is like 3 hours, let's say the Avengers 9 is 3 hours, and let's say the movie theater is 20 minutes from where you live, and you got to sit through previews, and then there's like commercials before the previews, and then you got to drive home. You're talking like 4 hours of your fucking day. That's a long time
yeah, that
to
is-
commit to a movie.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
So I walked out of the Avengers one night.
It's like a 2-hour comedy show.
Yeah, dude. Don't get me back on comedy, but yeah, these fucking like, there's like a spinning wheel in my head of shows that just are so insanely overly long. 90 minutes is the sweet spot, and if you're doing a bar show, if you're doing even if it's not even like a bar, if it's like a brewery or like even like a winery, some of these were 80 minutes, 70 minutes even. Just watch it and be done. Like 2 hours is crazy.
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
And I headlined a lot of these 2-hour shows, and it was like difficult. I mean, some of it was me not being the greatest, but sometimes it was like I'm supposed to do like 40 minutes at the end after they've already seen 90 minutes of comedy. I'm just like, dude, they're already tapped out.
Dude, let me tell you something about the Nightmare Alley.
Yeah.
So there's a concept in there called the geek. Have you ever heard of a geek?
They're like a nerd.
No, okay. So in the circus world, they used to have this character where a guy was like a creature, like a beast man, right?
Yeah.
And so the geek was a guy who was so fucked up on alcohol and drugs or whatever and strung out,
Yeah.
they would have him eat a chicken live.
Whoa.
Like a live chicken, just have him
Just
eat
bite
it,
into it.
bite its neck off. And the fucked up part about this movie is, at the beginning of the movie, he's telling him how he makes a geek. And what he does is he drops opium into a bottle and, of liquor. And so this drunk is like, can I get a little sip? And he gives him the bottle with opium in it. And then he's hooked on him.
Wow.
And so he gives him a bottle every day at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And he's a geek for the show.
Yeah.
And that's how he keeps them. And he keeps them in a cage.
Wow.
Yeah.
I need to see that shit.
A fucking geek. You got to turn out a geek.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh.
Man.
Okay. That's all.
That's amazing though.
Yeah. It's kind of haunting.
Definitely. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Can't we just talk about bombing on 7th Street in Austin? I'm just kidding.
What about Syria?
Oh my God. It's going to just I'm not an expert and I'm not going to go too deep into it, but it's the same fucking thing we've seen over and over again. They're like, oh, we're going to bring democracy. No, you're not. It's going to be another Afghanistan. It's going to be another Libya. It's going to be another fucking Iraq. It's the same thing over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're going to occupy the area. You're going to piss off the people. They're going to try to fight for their land back, and they're going to call them terrorists, and it's going to be the same fucking thing. Like, this happens. It's never going to stop.
You heard it, folks. That's pretty much it. Yeah, it's a oil and land grab, and
it's like I saw some video it was on my Facebook memories, and it was like, could you imagine if in the middle of Texas, Chinese and or Russian soldiers just occupied the area, and we wanted them to leave, and they were saying no, it's for our democracy, and then when we fight back, they call us terrorists. You know, like that's seriously what it is.
No, the whole concept of terrorist is such an old kind of concept that's been broken down so many times before.
Right.
Like, that's a dehumanizing. Like, if I called you a terrorist, now I can do anything I want to you.
Oh, yeah. Because it's like you're the worst of the fuck. It's like calling you a murderer.
You're not human.
Right.
You're a terrorist. So, yeah, that's like old school propaganda.
100%. But yeah, it's just like these people have occupied our country. They're often killing women and children with no repercussions at all. And then when we fight back, we're terrorists and we're the bad guys. Tell me how the fuck that makes sense.
Yeah, you can't be Syria's.
Oh, God. But,
What are you Lebanese or
I'm a
Syrian?
Libyan.
Libyan.
Everyone always, like, I've told a joke about it for years, like, and it still happens to this day. So, like, if Lebanon gets bombed, I've had, like, friends text me, like, is your family okay? And I'm like, considering they live in a different fucking continent, they're fine. Like, you thought I was Lebanese this whole time? Like, I said, that'd be the same, like, distance-wise, that would be like if on 9/11, after the Twin Towers were attacked, I had people call me and say, is your family in Los Angeles okay? It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's like an entirely different place.
You know where I learned about Libya?
Where?
Back to the Future.
I was going to say 100%. So I don't know why in the 80s,
Yeah.
the Libyans were like the go-to just standard fucking terrorist group. Like, and there's not a lot of Libyans. There's like 7 million in the world. Like, it's not a big, it's a huge country, like, size-wise.
Where
but
is Libya? In
it's
Africa?
in North Africa. It's right next to Egypt and in Morocco. It's actually super close to Italy.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, like the Mediterranean Sea right there and everything. But yeah, I don't know where it came from. Like, there's a movie called Terror Squad, which is one of the funniest fucking movies of all time. It's from 1987, and it's about Libyan terrorists that terrorize a small town in Indiana. They just start driving around, like, just drive-by shooting the whole fucking city. And they take hostages at a high school, and they have all these crazy demands, and they hijack a school bus. And it's, like, it makes me cry with laughter. It's so fucking over the top and dumb. But the terrorists are Libyan, and I'm just like, this is a theme in the 80s for some reason.
Crazy.
I don't know why, but
Probably Ronald Reagan had something to do with that.
probably. That was, like, it had to be done on purpose.
Oh, you know what? Did Israel want to attack Libya at some point in the 80s?
Probably.
They might have wanted to take over.
For sure.
Yeah, so there was some sort of propaganda campaign
100%.
in the movies.
Yep.
All right, you heard it from us.
So,
We're uncovering conspiracies right now.
yeah, well, yeah, he Relic was asking about conspiracies. He's like, would you talk about conspiracies? I'm like, conspiracies are so hack and boring. Like, what is this? Like, what are we going to do? Talk about Building 7 and 9/11? Like, what has been said that can be said by us?
Yeah.
You know, it is what it is. And then the JFK assassination, who cares? The moon landing.
Those are old ones, though. What's a
Right.
new one?
Like, I mean, I don't want to get too recent because I'm going to get demonetized. Like if we start talking like COVID or other shit and like just bringing up points, like I've had this channel suspended for 90 days before because I was doing like vaccination talk on here, and I've just decided to leave that all out. Like there's no point. I'm monetized now. I'm growing my followers on here.
He's sponsored by Pfizer.
Yeah, sponsored by Moderna. You know, they pay my rent now, so they've never done anything wrong in the history of their entire existence.
Yeah, vaccines are pretty cool.
They're great.
The vaccines are really good. Just make sure to get vaccinated. RFK Jr.
So did you want to talk about your quarrel with certain things in the Austin scene? Because I don't give a fuck. I'll talk about anything on here.
My quarrel? I don't
Not
know.
even a quarrel. The what's the word? You were fucked over, I should say, or
Yeah, I was banned.
okay, yeah. Let's talk about that. So the thing that Phil is really known for here in Austin was being banned from one of the local clubs for a joke that he did on stage, and it was. I'd say I was gonna say it's polarizing, but I think a majority of everyone was like on your side about it.
Yeah, I'm still hearing everybody's on my side about it.
Who wouldn't be on your fucking side? It wasn't even a big deal.
I didn't think it was a big deal.
So explain to him what happened. Because I feel like if you're on a podcast with, not this isn't Kill Tony. You're not going to have 1.2 million listeners, but you're going to have, maybe hundreds of people might hear your story.
Okay, I'll tell you. So Banana Phone.
Okay, so
it's a crazy ass show. Tell them what Banana.
okay,
Phone
Banana Phone is a show at the Creek and Cave here in Austin. Crazy show. It's a heckle mic essentially, where a comic goes on stage. They get 1 minute to do their jokes, and then there's a panel that keeps growing. There used to be like 2 or 3 people. Now there's like 8. Where there's a big ass table of comics. They have a few microphones. They heckle you, and the audience can also heckle you, and it becomes it can be very fun, very crazy, where it's like chaotic, where just people are yelling out crazy shit. The comic is yelling out crazy shit. So it's been accepted there. For it's not like most people that understand the show won't even really try to do their minute. They'll just go up there and kind of just riff and then just wait for the chaos to ensue. So people utilize it by being a little more crazy than usual. Like I've seen people do characters or they dress up in costumes, etc. So explain what happened at Banana Phone.
Oh yeah, so I go up for my minute, and I already had a joke about Hitler stealing the swastika from the Hindus, right?
Yes, which is historically accurate.
India's had the swastika for thousands of years.
It's just like tilted in a different way, but it's the same.
No. It's the
same.
exact same
Okay,
thing.
it's the exact
So
same.
there's a lot of variations of it, but
Yeah.
all those variations are originally Hindu.
Yes.
So any variation of the swastika has been in Hindu images. already.
Right.
So you could find the exact same swastika from the Nazis in there, where it's angled and everything. Even the fucking birds, those the eagles,
Yes.
those are from India too.
Right.
Yeah, from the Hindus. So the joke was just about Hitler appropriating the swastika, and I was going to take it back
Right.
because the Indians never stopped using it. So like it's
Right,
a big
right.
it's a big problem because you got Indians coming to India from India, and then they're getting hate crimed for having the swastika because they think it's peace and well-being, and so
Right.
yeah, and so it's a big problem for
What is like
Indians.
a hyper opposite too?
Yeah.
It's peace and well-being to like, no, this is the logo of and you just say Hitler. Like, you don't even have to say it. Like, you'd say like this is the logo of the most evil or deemed the most evil man in the history of humanity. That's his fucking logo. That's his Jordan Jumpman. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it was on stage, and I started at Creek, so I
Okay.
felt really comfortable.
first
going
time
up
ever
to
on
it.
stage was at Creek.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
So like, I go up, I do that bit, it goes crazy.
Yeah.
I remember on stage thinking I will never get a response like this again. It was the entire place like exploded.
So you have it on your chest, right? Is it painted or is it like with tape?
It's painted
Okay.
on my stomach and my nips.
Okay. Right.
2 baby ones. And so the whole joke is like, oh, Hitler took it. Now I saw American History X, and it looked fucking badass on Edward Norton.
Yeah.
And now I can't get my swastika tattoo because of Hitler.
Yeah.
And then I'm like pissed off. So I basically am like, fuck that. We're taking it back. This is our swastika.
Yeah.
Fuck Hitler. So it's against Hitler.
Yeah, and it's historically accurate too.
It's completely his. And I've been working on that too. Like I put
Yeah.
it away for like a year and I came back to it. But one of the jokes is like, America learned about Hitler or learned about the swastika from Hitler.
Right.
And that's like learning about rap from Macklemore.
Yeah, no shit.
It's like you're taking something completely out of context and then telling a billion people they can't use it,
right.
which it's theirs originally. They're not responsible for some guy taking it and then killing Jews.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah. So if you look it up right now in America, there are thousands of like lawsuits and like lawsuits and what are they called when the cops are investigating it? Hate crimes. I
Hate
guess?
crimes, yeah.
Yeah, because people have been attacked. Like there was an Uber driver that got videotaped and like
So he just had the original Indian version.
yeah,
and-
just like straight.
Why do you? I mean, I understand, like, but the people that just freak out and attack people over shit. Let's say it was the real fucking swastika. Let's say there was Hitler's face smiling in the middle of it. It's
Dude,
just like
this
don't
was-
attack people. You
No,
fucking
this was
lunatic.
ridiculous. You got a
Yeah.
swastika made out of daisies?
Right.
What the fuck, people? Come on.
That's crazy though. So and that was over a year ago, right?
Yeah, that was a year ago, and they've not
They have
talked
not
to
up-
me at all. Like I've tried to contact them, they won't talk to me.
That's so fucking crazy. And like there wasn't even like a big backlash either.
There was no backlash.
No backlash. So it's like I could understand like saving face and being like, but as a comedy club, and I like the Room. Creek is dope. Like to me, it's the best hang in Austin.
Yeah,
Objectively, even if because I've said before, like I feel like I don't necessarily fit in anywhere. So there's been times where I'm there where I'm just like, I don't vibe with anyone here, but I don't make everything about me, and it is objectively the best hang in Austin, Texas, as a stand-up. Like everyone, I mean, you're a perfect example of how this is necessarily true. Almost everyone's welcome there, so to go hang out on the patio, and it's just kind of like this is the hang. No other club has that where everyone's allowed in to hang. But now I feel stupid because as I'm saying this, you're not allowed there.
dude, I think it was just bad timing because it was right when the Israel-Palestine thing was kicking off. Palestine,
Right, October 7th.
October 7th. It was like I think it was January, February, I think.
When the banning happened.
Yeah, so I think
I think once that happened, that was just going to be the thing for a while. So even if it was a few months later, it's still like, I mean, it's died down a little bit, I guess, but
it was a tense atmosphere because you had South by Southwest 2 happening in March, and then there was like
Yeah.
people tearing down flags or putting up flags. So it was kind of crazy, but that happened, and then a comic, a shitty dude from out of town
Yeah.
came to Austin. He took a picture of me on stage, sent it to the owner, and basically said, this is the kind of stuff that's happening at your club.
and then if the owner should have just been like, it's Banana Phone, and then would look into the context and be like, who gives a fuck?
Yeah, and when your name is Dubs General,
Yeah.
you really don't have a leg to stand on when it comes to judging anyone.
That's so fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's sad. So he sent that picture, and then she basically put out a Instagram post saying I was banned for life.
Which is crazy because, I mean, like I said, I don't care what anyone thinks. It is what it is. I'm not getting booked anywhere anyway. They run Skankfest, which is like the craziest, most over-the-top, anything goes festival in the history of the art form. I was at Skankfest this past September, and it's just like it is, people are naked on stage. People are saying the most crazy rape jokes ever. Ari Shaffir took a shit on stage, and there was blood all in his shit. They stuck a gun up Louis J. Gomez's ass. This is like the safe haven for like the outcasts who know comedy is comedy and anything goes if you're trying to be funny. So it's like something so mild and tame like you did. It feels like that's almost nothing. That should be just like, what are you talking about? Leave me alone and just move on. It would have not. No one would have remembered it. Like, people would remember you for the joke in the town, but like that would have blown over in 12 hours.
Yeah, nobody was like, people were like telling me about how crazy it was, the response.
Yeah.
But, nobody was upset about that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Especially, I think there's a bit of like kind of a cultural disconnect here too, because like
Yeah.
they don't understand what I'm talking about there and where that's coming from as far as my own even personal experience with
Right,
that
right.
symbol. So that's a cultural divide, I think. That's my
It
understanding.
has to be.
Yeah. Because if you knew anything about anything, you would understand that this guy was actually telling this from his perspective too.
100%. Maybe I'm just different because like your explanation and everything makes it more than just, a clever
Yeah, it was
joke.
It was
but,
a hot job, hit job.
I've heard crazier shit said on every stage in town.
Yeah, I've heard so much worse. Like things that are not thought out like this. This is more thought out about
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say.
And I'm not even mad at the way crazier ones. I'm just like,
Yeah.
okay, like, I don't know. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I don't give a fuck. I think racist jokes are funny. If it's racism, not funny. Racist jokes sometimes are pretty fucking funny. Like, you know what I mean? Like, in my opinion, like to me, that's different. There's a joke that is like a racially based fucking joke where it's probably insensitive to said race, but if it's clever and it's fucking funny, I know so many comics that laugh at jokes that are like supposedly like racist towards their race. And like I said, like if you're being profiled by the police, if you're being followed around in the store, if someone calls you a racial slur, not funny, but a crafted joke, I think it's fun. I don't give a fuck. I laugh at racist jokes.
Yeah, if it's funny, it's
If
funny.
it's funny, it's fucking funny. Like,
Yeah. Well, that's the story. That's where it's at. So it's been a year. It's weird because there's no, you know what I mean? It's just one person and her kind of, it's a private business.
it is, and
So.
and it's not like there's a backlash against you either. If there was, even then I wouldn't agree with it, but I could at least understand from a business standpoint, being like they're just trying to save face and just keep the peace, and just that's a small sacrifice for a business just to be like, look, you fucked up, sorry, you're out. But like when there's literally no reason, I don't know, like.
Yeah. Video games and movies. Go.
Video games and movies. He's so obsessed with Grand Theft Auto fucking 3. So for the listeners, Relic is in the chat room blowing us up with just... I've been playing Grand Theft Auto 3 every fucking night. It's a fun game from 2001. It's, like I've been saying, I call it McDonald's at home. Like when... Like, there's Grand Theft Auto 5. There's about to be Grand Theft Auto 6. Like, I don't need that. I have McDonald's at home. I have Grand Theft Auto 3. I'll play that instead. It's a great game. It's nostalgic. It takes 10 years to fucking beat the thing and complete every mission. I'm good on it, and it's been very fun lately.
It's a great game. Yeah, it's probably the only game I really played.
Really?
I think-
Did you play any of the other ones, like San Andreas or Vice City?
Yeah, San Andreas.
Vice City was phenomenal, too. The 80s one in Florida.
Yeah, I
It's
didn't
just
get
like
that
Grand
one.
Theft Auto 3, but it's like in Miami Vice. It
Yeah.
takes place in like the late 80s, and the soundtrack is brilliant. It's a improved version of Grand Theft Auto 3. You can do a little bit more because it came out a couple years later, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, Grand Theft Auto is what was the one? What there's like a zombie game that's kind of like
Grand Theft Auto, but it's zombie.
Yeah.
I didn't know about that. That sounds awesome, though.
I think it's on a beach or some shit. What is it called? Far Cry.
Okay, I have not played that.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, so I stopped playing games for so long. Like the laptop we're recording on is actually a gaming laptop. I got it Black Friday 2 years ago, and it can run pretty good. Like I played the new Resident Evil 4 on this, which is from like 2022, and it ran fine.
Can you run Age of Empires?
Is that like a new game?
No, that's an old game.
Oh, yeah, fucking A.
Microsoft game.
Oh yeah, I can run. I play emulators on here all the fucking time. I just feel like that there's so many old games that are good. Like new games are fine, but it's just you can never play everything. So I'm not obsessed with like the new game that's coming out when there's so much already readily available.
Did you see that video game show by the It's Always Sunny guys?
No.
It was pretty cool.
They had like a show about video games?
Yeah, it was a show with Rob McElhenney, I think is the guy.
Okay.
That guy that from It's Always Sunny, he's like the lead and the writer of it, but it's about video games. He's like a video game creator, and it's a good show. Kind of meta.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we hit over an hour. Let's see what we're
He
at.
will not play NBA Jam. For
He
us.
wants me to
Oh.
play NBA Jam because
People like watching people play video games.
well,
I don't get it.
I rage though. Like, and it's not even like me putting on. Like, I get the NBA Jam is beyond frustrating, and I get my ass kicked, or I barely lose, and I melt down, and people find it funny when I'm like cussing up a fucking storm.
Dude, I think we should just invite Relic over here for the next podcast. You
Yeah,
could
no
just-
shit.
He could just respond straight.
Right?
Relic, you
We should
can-
have him as like the third. 'Cause you know how people usually who have like a legitimately like real podcast setup. They have the person that's like the audio guy, and he'll chime in.
Yeah, a little
And shit.
producer in
That
the
could
back.
be Relic.
Relic, we'll see you next episode here.
Yeah. Well, anything you want to plug on here? Where can people find you?
Phil is funny.
Phil is funny. How did you get that? I feel like someone else would have that.
I don't know. I just got it. I was like,
That's pretty cool.
yeah, it's easy for people to.
Phil is
remember.
funny on Instagram. Rex the Dog Show, fucking amazing. Yeah, so that'll do it. So at the end of every episode, I always say, so until next time, kiddies, stay safe, stay healthy, don't be a bitch, and stay up.